This is Abnormal Entertainment.
Hey everybody, this is Daniel Garza. Welcome to another episode of Put It Together. I want to start by thanking my producer, Mr. Kevin Moyers, for all his help and support. Thank you, sir. Inviting you to go check us out at abnormalentertainment.com, where you can find my show and all the other shows on the network. You can also follow me at YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. My handle is at Lil Mexican, LILMESICAN. Go check it out. You can find pictures, videos, things that I find interesting, things that I find not interesting. It's all on there. Go check it out. This week, I have a very special guest. I've been wanting to have him on the show for a while. I'll tell you how we met in a minute, but his name is, it's Mikey Gilmore. Hi, Mr. Gilmore. How you doing?
Hey, Daniel.
Producer of film Boho.
Yeah.
That's new since we first met, which is kind of interesting, but I'm sure you'll talk about that in a minute. We met on the set of Callejero, which you guys got to talk to. You guys heard the conversation with Ray Gallardo, the director of Callejero.
Oh, I love Ray.
He's been on the show. He was on the show like a week after we wrapped.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. So he's
Years
been on
ago.
the show. Yeah. That was the post-cancer episodes. But you and I met on the set. I'll tell the folks listening, my favorite memory of you.
Oh, boy.
Is...
this could be dangerous.
No, absolutely. It was really good. We were shooting in Rosarito. Was it Rosarito? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were shooting in Rosarito.
Mexico.
And we were shooting... My first night of shooting, we were by that little trailer at that house.
The encampment.
Yeah, the lot next door. So for those of you watching the movie, if you watched the movie, if you haven't, you need to go watch it. We're shooting the scene, and it's this dramatic moment between. Now I forgot his name, and he's going to hate me for this.
Oh, yeah, Martin.
No, not Martin. Callejero.
Oh, man.
Now I just
Ivan? I'm trying to think. I'm just rattling off all the actors.
We'll think about it in a minute.
The scene. Okay, yeah.
But Santander, the lead guy. Anyway, so he was. I don't think he listens to the show, so we're good. But we're shooting the scene, and it's one of the dramatic moments where kind of the story takes that turn, and one of the producers coughs, and you went off on him. I like, what the fuck? Like, hold the fucking cough, and you just let him have it. He walked out. He was almost quitting, and everybody was like, holy shit. That was the moment I looked at you and I was like, my respects to this dude. Like he does not give a shit. He's going to go after it. But it really motivated me because I think they used the next shot in the movie. And that's where, like, I was kind of like, oh shit, like, oh, this just happened. I think the emotion of being a little intimidated by everything, which is what my character was doing at the moment. But it really helped me, so thank you.
Yeah. Man, you really brought. I remember you really brought it, and there was actually rewrites in that movie. Like the original script, it didn't end. The last like 20 minutes was completely different, and one kind of little hiccup happened with one of the actors, and it worked out really well for you. It was like, this guy Daniel, he's fun. And then it was like, let's punch up his character. And we kept you around for a bit longer than I think you expected.
Well, I still remember that second trip down to Mexico. Mm-hmm. I was just going as background, just kind of to be part of, because I was already part of the movie. But I didn't have any more lines, which I was happy with. And then I think it was you, Ray... I can't remember everybody else's names.
Like Marty and Wes.
Wes, yeah. And they were like, can we talk to you? And I was like, oh, I thought in my head, they're about to send me back to the States. Like, you know what? We don't need you. Yeah. There was no reason to pay me if they weren't going to use me. Can you just go? Basically, I was going to be deported back to the States.
But in actuality, we asked you to get us drugs. No.
Yes. I was.
Do you speak Spanish?
How do you say? How do you say 2 hookers for $20 in Spanish? And they were like, well, this happened. Can, we want to, how good are you memorizing? Can we extend it? And I was like, holy crap. I'm like, yeah, of course. And some of the best work that I've done came out of that second part. So it was really cool.
It was a lot of fun. The moment I thought you were actually going to say was maybe the chicken and waffles incident. but that wasn't necessarily a fun thing for you.
Before we get into your story, yes. So we were staying in this big house. We were staying in two houses in Rosarito, and one was for the actors, and one was for the crew.
These houses were it was like the real world. It was they were big, awesome houses.
Yes. And they had their own house. So I was part of the acting group, and Mikey was part of the crew group. So they had their own house, but they didn't have any food in their own house. So there was this party the night before. Was there a party?
There was a party every night.
Every night. Yeah. For those of y'all know, I don't drink, so I would retire to my room early when the shots would start flowing. I would just retire. And all of a sudden, at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning or something, I hear stirring in the kitchen. I'm like, who the fuck is up at this hour cooking? So I come out, and Mikey and Wes hi Wes, if you're listening to the show, are in the kitchen trying to heat up this chicken from the night before. And did you really have waffles?
Yeah, it was just all leftover food. It was like Eggos.
So they're drunk off their ass trying to make chicken and waffles, which I was irritated of. I think I bitched a little bit.
Yeah, you came out and you were like, guys, what's going on? And we were really excited. Or maybe we woke you up. We were like, Daniel, do you want some chicken and waffles? But either way, you looked at us like we were just insane.
And if it makes you feel any better, I still look at you. Still do. But there was a lot of adventures. One of the best things about Callejero was it was the first time I'd gone away to shoot. Everything I ever shot was here in LA. So I was away. We were on location. We all stayed together. The group was equally insane. I still remember the party that was thrown for the birthday boy. I can't remember his name now either. But there was a cup thrown.
Yes.
And I'd already gone to bed. But in true fashion of Garza, I came out, grabbed the broom, swept the mess, threw it away, went back in my room.
It was like a robot. It was like a machine. Everybody was out partying, and this big blow up happened, and a shot glass was thrown, and then Daniel pops up out of nowhere with the broom and the little catch thing, and just sweeps it up, and he doesn't even really say anything, and he just disappears away. It was we were all just kind of huh, Daniel, I didn't even know Daniel was still awake, It's
like Rosie on the Jetsons.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't even see any steps in his movement. It was just he glided in and glided out.
You remember it was a titty mug.
It was.
And it had a naked woman on the handle.
It was a really thoughtful gift.
I still have the naked woman from the handle.
I remember you picking up the glass.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a story in itself. Yeah, it was a really sweet gift, and
Yeah. So anyway,
oh wow! Speaking of, so the person who threw that was shot recently at a party. He's okay.
What?
Yeah. I'll just say it, Tom. Tom, yeah, dear sweet Tom. I love him, but he's a bonehead. Yeah, I mean, he was at some party, I guess, and this drunk guy was he had a gun and it was loaded, and he was ugh, and Tom was actually the voice of reason. Crazy, right? And he was guns, you gotta be responsible. It's not cool, put it away. And so the guy, excuse me, he popped the magazine or whatever, the clip out of the gun, and then he was fumbling with the slide, pulling it back, and he loaded it and shot Tom in the leg, point blank range, and it apparently went clean through. And he had he was just like in shock, and everybody in the room is just screaming, and he's just looking fixated on this hole in his jeans. I guess he was in shock. But yeah, I heard about this the other day, and I texted him, and he's like, yeah, it could have been a lot worse, so I got to be grateful for it. And straight through, chipped his femur a little bit, but yeah.
Wow. Karma. That's what happens when you throw a cup across the room.
Yeah.
Never throw a titty cup. You never know what's going to happen later in life.
I don't see why he's mad. Like, he got a little titty milk from a stripper in Tijuana on him. Like,
okay, let's just tell the whole story then.
I mean, I get, that's the abbreviated version anyway.
I wasn't there for the titty milk moment, but we heard the story. Anyway, I thought it was funny. I would have like accepted the cup and
totally
hold it with honor.
Yeah, it was just a funny thing. Like, Tom got hit by it, and
there are things you remember in life.
Yeah.
A shooting star.
Totally, yep, yeah.
Finding $100 bill in the street and getting stripper titty milk in your mouth. I think those are things you remember for life.
Forever and ever.
I definitely would be at home going, Dear Diary, tonight at the stripper club.
Yeah, the stripper club.
I spent $150 and I got milk in my mouth. Life is good. I mean, that's just me though, but
I mean, I guess before we change gears and probably move on to other subjects besides strippers, I will say like my favorite moment from over there, like I moved down there later on with one of the producers from Callejero, and we were living out there for like 2 months, and we were both working on different feature scripts. But we would go out there like every Friday and get like a ton of pastor tacos, and then just get drunk at the strip club, like at Alita's or Hong Kong, right?
Well, would you take the tacos to the strip club?
Oh no!
No, okay, because that's just awkward.
The tacos were conveniently located outside the strip club, so
why not?
Yeah, the best ones in TJ. But yeah, I remember one of the nights I was out there. I was actually getting a tattoo with Tom and a couple other people, and afterwards it was like, well, I got this ink. Let's just go and like let's get a drink and like check out the strip club. And I wasn't really feeling it that night. I was gonna leave, and then the song from Dusk Till Dawn came on. The song from To Dusk Till Dawn came on, right? And this woman came out with the boa constrictor. I don't know, have you seen that movie with Selma Hayek?
Yeah.
So she reenacts the dance from Dusk Till Dawn with the giant snake and everything. It was kind of amazing. Like, I'll never forget like getting my tattoo and then the drink, and I was about to leave, and then it was like, okay, let's see what happens here, and it was like this crazy show, and then I think I got.
I'm thinking in my head, how can we make this a promotional video?
Oh.
Tacos de trompo, a tat, and a boa. How can we put that, with a stripper? How can we put this in a promotional video to get more people to TJ? Yeah. That's the thing.
The TJ tourism video?
Yes. Welcome to Tijuana.
We'll let you back and forth even if you don't have a passport.
And there's a guy eating a taco, with the guy tattooing him while he's eating.
Yeah,
and a stripper with the boa.
The drunk white guy that like is always there with his friends at 3 a.m. Yeah, the party doesn't stop.
If you get a piece of meat between the titties of the stripper, you get a free lap dance.
Totally, yeah.
Hey, there you go. Hola, Tijuana. Oh, that just
that was a fun time.
That's okay, folks. Well, if you haven't been to Tijuana, that's the chance to get it.
Yeah.
Because the last time I was there, when we shot the fight scenes and
on the rooftop of the Chicago Club, right?
And then my last scene. Mm-hmm. So if you guys see the movie, you'll see the last scene. That was a retake with me in it. We were staying at a hotel. I was on like the 3rd or 4th floor, and this is a really skanky hotel. It's one of those hotels with like ceramic tiles for the floor where you can hear everything from upstairs. The tiles and everything smells of sex, like fresh sex, and you're just even if there's not, the moment I lay down, I felt like things were crawling on me, and it's probably like 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and 3 o'clock, and everybody had gone out. Of course, I didn't want to go anywhere, so I roomed with bear guy.
Kevin. Bear guy? I just know.
He snores like a bear, and he knows that because I told him the next morning.
Good. Best sound guy in the industry, Kevin Johnson.
And he should know about sound and noise.
Yeah.
So while everybody's out, I'm trying to watch like late night television in Tijuana, which we got like 3 channels on the TV because these are the kind of hotels you don't go to watch TV, basically. And I could hear the woman on top of above me.
Mm-hmm. Not on top of you.
Not on top of me. No, not on top of me. But I would hear, and then I would hear her heels. Clack, 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 clack. Open the door, close the door, da, 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 and then squeak, 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 squeak. And then that would happen for a little while I would raise the volume on the TV, whatever was on. Yeah. And then adios, and then like 30 minutes later, hola. And I was like, she is horny. When I finally cracked up, after the squeak, 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 I heard cling, and it was all this change on the floor. I'm like, bitch, you are not getting paid in pesos. It's like, no, you asked for those dollar bills. And then in the morning, I heard downstairs, it sounded like 4 guys and a girl. And I heard one guy ask the other guy, hey, how do you say 4 of us for $20? And the girl goes, and he says, cuatro, $20. And you can hear the gringo all over that. And the girl goes, ¿qué? ¿4 por $20? No. And she's like, 50, 50. And the guy's like, ¿cuánto? And she's like, 50. And the guy's like, 50? And he looks around, he goes, she wants $50 for the 4 of us. And I hear the guy go, well, I got $40. And he's like, cuatro, 10. And I'm thinking, you're trying to say 40, right? Like that. Yeah. And it's like, and she's like, 40. Okay. I'm like, girl, you took 40 for 4 guys. Let me go manage your business because you're not doing well.
And that's how you strike a deal with a prostitute in Mexico.
At 5 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. 5 o'clock in the morning. Take all your buddies.
For group sex.
So not only Tijuana is it the best for tacos, tattoos, and strippers with balls, bachelor parties too. Bachelor parties. All right, sir. So moving on from Tijuana, let's bring you across the border because I feel dirty now.
I feel like I need a shower or something.
Hola!
¿Cuánto?
So let's talk about you.
Sure.
Let's talk about you. So I've been wanting to have you on the show because I've always thought you had a really interesting story to tell. So tell the audience how you put it together.
How I put it together. Yeah, I love it. That's the title of the podcast, right? Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. It kind of reminds me of harkens back to How It's Made or something. I really love that show. Who knows? Okay, yeah, I'm avoiding. I can't remember. Deflecting. Yes.
There you go.
I was accused of doing that yesterday. Apparently, I did that a bit. Okay, yeah. So how I got into this.
How'd you become you?
Yeah. So I started film in Berkeley, I guess. I did. And I was into photography at first. And then my parents actually suggested filmmaking as a potential career. And I was like, wow, you guys always wanted me to do something very logically minded and business management sort of askewed or whatever. And so I was really stoked that they would even be supportive of this, and I really liked it as soon as I started it. I studied at the Berkeley Digital Film Institute, met some really great people. You can say what you will about the program. Lots of people have. If you read it up on Yelp, it's pretty funny. You should. But yeah, so and then I moved down to LA. I was this was so many years ago now, like 5 or 6 years ago or something. I moved to LA, and I was the first in my network. I knew nobody. It was really hard. It was lonely. It was isolating. But like I knew I wanted to tell stories, and I loved filmmaking. It was a calling. It was like I was very passionate about it. People said I was crazy. I was crazy. But I stuck it out, and I responded to lots of Craigslist ads, and worked for way below minimum wage, and like made friends with people on set, and was like, yeah, I'm kind of like just staying at the Night's Inn hotel or something for the week, and then they let me crash on their couch, and I would take jobs wherever I could, in San Diego, in San Francisco, in Los Angeles, in the desert somewhere, crashing on couches, sleeping in my car. And I did that for a really long time. As I persisted, I eventually started meeting more people and getting better jobs and learning and becoming, I had to develop my skills as well,
right. So what's easier to do, to fight the craziness or fall into the craziness?
I don't even think it's like fighting the craziness. Like that stuff exists whether or not you're partaking in it. Like that's just how the world is. That's how people are. That's how this industry definitely is, right? You just got to kind of like, you not necessarily go with the flow, but just know that that's how it's going to be with some people and with like this business sometimes, and to like not let that like overtake you. Like just because somebody like some director has a ton of energy on set that day and is like being manic and maybe stressing and freaking out, you can't let that affect you. Yeah.
So when you're trying, you're moving to LA, you're kind of on your own, just trying to find your way.
Yeah.
Meeting people along the way, just like anything. There's good people, there's bad people. Could you give us an example, like one of your horror stories of meeting people, and maybe one of the best stories of meeting people?
Sure. So I think the best thing to do is to find people to grow with that you like, that you can understand, like, and relate to, like people who have the same motivations as you. Like those are the people that you can really trust. Like the people who like just want to be proud of their work, and they work really hard, and they have like a strong work ethic, and they're really dedicated. Like birds of a feather flock together, and like skills can be developed and grown, but like the substance of character just is, and I would say that like the best thing to do is to just find people like that and to stick with them, and you kind of all inspire one another. And definitely the thing to avoid are what seems like an easy opportunity, even when you know it, and to yourself like oh, like this isn't, maybe this is kind of a sleazy person or whatever, but it seems like a great job or like an easy opportunity or something like that. It never is, and it might not necessarily be worth it in the long run.
Because we all most of us have come out to LA pursuing a career, either in front or behind the camera, somewhere. This is definitely the best place to do that. And we tend to come with these convictions and these morals and these standards, like this is what I'm going to do with my career, and you trust your gut, and you have this heart and the passion, but then necessity kicks in, and you're like, oh shit, like I gotta eat, so maybe my standards could be lowered a little bit. How have you maintained yourself? Like, has there been any moments where you're like, should have followed my gut?
Oh, I can think of very specific like moments where so I've been lucky to where I've been able to just focus on the industry and like my passions and my skills I didn't have. I know a lot of people, not to dismiss it or be derogative towards it whatsoever. I know a lot of people that are like servers or Uber drivers, and that's how they sustain themselves while also pursuing their passions in film. And I totally get it. I just was like, I would just try to figure out how to survive off the medium amount of money that I would make even when I first started off freelancing. And then I would maybe, when I first started, I was, trying to sell some pot a little bit here and there, honestly. And, but I remember like one specific, I won't name the person, but, I was working as like a swing grip electric on a music video, and this gaffer who I was working for, this was 6 years ago or something like that, was just a complete asshole, like to everybody, like to the crew, and like was completely like just like yelling insults, and was just really terrible. And then at the end of the night, he tried to give everybody $40 out of his pocket, to be like, hey man, sorry I was doing that, and sorry I treated you guys this way. And he was going up to each person and like giving them each like a little extra money, for his bad behavior. And I didn't take it. It wasn't like I didn't need the money, especially back then. Jesus, I needed the money. But it was just like, I valued, I don't know, it was like a principle thing. And then all my friends took the money, and we went to like a party that night, and even though we had another early call time, and like they had bought a bunch of beer and stuff like that, and it was like, woo, like, yeah, you didn't take the money, like look at all this beer I brought, because of that. And so I was like, oh, it was like an immediate thing. But I thought about it like, I don't know, I valued myself more than that $40 or whatever, and it wasn't going to make up for it, And in that moment, I definitely questioned myself, but I still think, years later, that was the right decision. I remember that moment, and I wouldn't have necessarily remembered, or caring that I bought a bunch of beer with it now.
That kind of the moral of it, the principle of the situation.
Yeah. In this industry, like, you're definitely, I found, you establish your own value. Rates are all over the place, no matter what your job is. If you wanted to be a script supervisor, a key grip, or associate producer, like, you're always negotiating your payment, how much your like responsibility and your tasks and what they entail, and for how much time you're going to be investing in it for. And you're the only person that establishes your wealth, your value, and stuff like that. And no one else is gonna like put a price tag on you, but you.
That's interesting. It's one of the few businesses where I think your personal experiences sometimes don't have the value. Like it's how much professional experience you have and how much you bring to the table. And we all build up our experience a little more than it is.
Yeah.
I know I've surely fibbed on auditions. Can you do this? Of course I can. Ride a horse backwards and blindfolded. Yay! Can't you see I'm Mexican? Of course I can.
That's how I was born.
I was born on a horse crossing the border. Damn it. But nobody cares what you're going through personally.
Yeah.
Like nobody, like if you had a bad night, if your girlfriend left you, if your boyfriend hit you, like you show up to work and you get shit done and do it. But I know that from being on front of the camera. Mm-hmm. Is that the way it is in back of the camera?
Yeah. Amazingly relevant situation just happened, actually. A good friend, coworker that I enjoyed actually working with quite a bit, he was let go from like ever being contacted with the corporation I work with, because his wife had gone into surgery that morning. And because of that, maybe he overlooked a few things, and it was during a shoot where like you can't like make up, or you can't save what had happened. I'm trying to be vague just because I don't want to But it was it was like one of those things where it was like, it was a big deal kind of thing. Like sometimes you can screw up and it's okay, you just sweep it up and you don't do it again. But this was one of those times where like you just, it's one of those like, when you work at a higher level, like sometimes you have these moments where it's like it's make or break. And that was a break moment because his wife was going into surgery that morning and like his head was out of the game. And even though we could all make this mistake, right? And completely understand, it's like there's so many moving parts with the studio involved and with the company head and all this. It's like that person we can never work with him again.
Wow.
Which, it's unfortunate. It's not even personal at all because like that's how the companies work, which is kind of an ugly side of.
And that's one thing that people don't quite understand. It's like you hear interviews and people are like, oh yeah, we're like a big family on this show, or we were like a family on this shoot and we were all family. But then the shoot ends and you move on and you go on to another family. And I just go back to the fact that it's like you're here to do your job. And on that moment, if you've never been on a set, this probably won't make sense, but you're there and it's just like, heard everybody over there, move everybody here, hurry up and wait, and then you make acquaintances, you make friends for a little bit, and then you move on, and it's over. And you, very few people that I've stayed connected like I do, like with you or Wes, or a couple people that I'm like still, hey, how's it going? How's life?
From other shoots as well, right?
And but no, it's hard to say because I don't want to sound like an asshole, but sometimes people just don't care. It's like they don't care why you're late. They don't care why you're crying. They don't care why you're limping. Like if you got here, do your job and let me do mine. Yeah,
there's definitely some sociopaths in the industry, and unfortunately, they're all working in above the line positions.
How does that translate to your personal life? Do you carry that?
Oh. There's no such thing as like a personal life. I feel like my personal we can talk about that. Like, if anybody's like listening to this podcast and like they're like just trying to learn more about getting into film, prepare to not have a personal life. Like I was prepped. I was warned when I was studying at Berkeley Digital Film Institute. There was this guy Mitch Altieri. He's like one half of the Butcher Brothers, and they do a lot of these like awesome, like kind of fun horror films, right? And he was telling me this great story of like he was like at a friend's wedding and he was like in some bushes on a phone call for like 2 hours or whatever, missing the whole party because like his movie deal was like codependent on this other Lindsay Lohan movie deal, and since the Lohan movie had flopped, they were pulling half his budget. And so he wasn't even basically at the wedding. He was like in his bushes yelling at his agent or whatever, film is gonna like eat up. It's, you're not gonna be able to go to those birthday parties. You're gonna miss your own birthday. You're not gonna be able to go to the weddings, and if you are, you're not even gonna be really present because like something else is gonna happen.
So why are you in it?
Oh, I love film. Oh man. Why am I in it? I definitely, like, I had a crazy, crazy life. I feel like a crazy, like, childhood and upbringing. And, like, I've always really loved storytelling. Like, I love narratives. And, I want to be able to tell, like, a lot of the stories, that have happened to me. And I think, like, other people can find relatable. And man, it's I got a taste and I love it. It's really like creating film it's so nice. Like you don't hurt anybody ideally. Like you're just creating this positive thing, this entertainment for people. And film at its best actually like inspires. It can make people better. Like it gives you a different point of view. You're more considerate of people. You can empathize with somebody perhaps like that you've never considered, like the life that they go through until you can walk a mile in their shoes. And filmmaking is a way to like let that happen. I really like on one side of film, it's mindless entertainment. On the other side, it can really like knock down walls and expand people's horizons and things like that.
So let's play a little game for a second.
Sure.
So we're writing, or we're producing the Mikey Gilmore film, and it's going into production.
Oh god, like the unauthorized biography.
Yes, it's on Lifetime by all means.
Oh god,
yes.
I know the people who'd be making it.
What would be the plot of your movie?
Oh, the plot would be just like, it would be a string of unrealistic like scenarios where people would be like, no fucking way that this happens, and it would all be real things, right? Like, and
okay, so which scene would be in the trailer?
Oh, the trailer scenes. Oh boy. Okay, like it would probably be like drinking montage, partying, and then like maybe like some life or death stuff, arrested at Burning Man, like yeah, and then like running from police while like helicopters circle overhead at Occupy Oakland, and then to like, I don't know, me on set, you know, on a big movie set telling a cop what to do, like cutting in between like, and then, I don't know, like, there's definitely some interesting parallels between my childhood as, like, in teenage years where I was, like, a high school dropout, and now, like, I'm filming all these things at high schools, and I feel like I'm spending more time now as an adult at school than I ever did as a teenager.
Is there a song that's playing in the background?
Oh, okay, yeah. Right now there has been, for sure. That's a good one. I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, the song "Damn It" by Blink-182. I guess this is growing up. I never thought that a song that I first liked listening to when I was 16 that I would identify with even more so when I was nearly 30. Like, I just turned 29, and then it's like, there's like, you know, it's like, there's a scene where it's like, I guess I'll see you at a movie sneak preview, you know, and it's like, they just pretend that they're happy to see each other or whatever. It's like, I totally get that. Like, I don't know. I never thought I would identify with it more so now than as a kid. Especially, it's such a whiny, like, emo, like, punk rock. It's like a bubblegum rock song.
Is there a title to your movie, The Life of?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was working on like a journalized sort of autobiography for a while. It was Divorce and Debauchery, Tales of a Hitchhiking Filmmaker. It's kind of wordy, I know, like, not all that's going to fit on the poster. And, yeah, I would probably change it now.
Tales of a Hitchhiker what?
Tales of a Hitchhiking Filmmaker.
Hitchhiking.
Because, back when I was, like, traveling up and down the coast, I did hitchhike a little bit, but I mostly used, like, Craigslist rideshare and just travel with complete strangers, and it was fun, you know, got to meet a lot of different people and like that I feel like got to help, like I was constantly gaining new experiences even while I'm continuing to make films, and like meet new people and like, you know, take their quirks and interesting characteristics or whatever and like try to like remember them as characters in my life to put in the stories that I write or whatever.
Was there anything that stands out as like, I will always remember that ride?
A few. Like, for instance, I remember, like, taking a picture of one guy that picked me up because he was so creepy and sending it to my friend with, like, his contact information. And I was like, he said his name is John. And I was like, if he fucking kills me, like, be on the lookout for this guy. I was serious. Like, wow. He was like, he had this old beat-up pickup truck and, like, he had hair, all the way, like, long, crazy hair. And like he had black trash bags in like the tiny little back row, and I was like, are these fucking people? Like, that was the guy he picked up on Craigslist last night or whatever. Like, because we were driving from Los Angeles to San Francisco, you know, like, and it's like you don't know who you're gonna end up with, you know, and you just kind of go on a gut or whatever. And I was like, fuck, okay, well, I had been doing it for like years, so I was like, whatever. Most of the people aren't killers, you know, I'm still alive, so let's do it. But, so that was crazy. Yeah, okay, I'll never forget this one. it was me, this guy Noah, and then like this clean cut producer guy. And at the time, I was like this long haired, super bummy looking kid. Like I look like Shaggy from Scooby Doo, right? Probably when I met you, still I was looking like that. So we're in this old van, and actually, yeah, we were headed towards. I was headed to San Diego to start filming Kaihiro. And so the three of us are in this old van, this like 70s van, and Noah's this stoner, and he's got this apple that he cut into to like turn into a pipe. So he's like driving with his knee, and he's hitting the pipe, and we're passing it around. Total strangers all in this car, you know. And so we're getting up into the Grapevine, which is like the mountain range before you're basically getting into Los Angeles. And in the winter, it sometimes snows over. So this was one of those times. It was getting really bad. We found out later that they had right after we passed, they had closed down the Grapevine. They weren't letting any more cars in. And so it keeps snowing, and it's like the van starts to slide a little bit. And the snow is coming down so hard at some point that like you can't see out the windshield at all. Right. And the only way you know what even part of the road we're on, we start going really slow, is by the rumble strips that at least lets you know that like you're dangerously close to the edge or whatever. And you could tell that even Noah was like being like quite alarmed. He was like very like rigid and kind of uptight. He was driving with both hands on the wheel, and it was like blah 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 blah. And then you would see for a moment, oh shit, that's like the cliff right there. Like we were like dangerously close to like the precipice. Right. And he's like, yo, Mikey, like like you see my apple, and like I'm like, shit, man, is now the time or whatever. And I was like, well, like if any time's the time, it's now, right? And so he's like fumbling around. I hand it to him. He's like trying to like light it and like hit the apple at the same, drive and hit the apple at the same time. Drops the apple. And you can hear it like roll into the back or whatever. And I was like, look, man, I got like 2 joints in my pocket. I was like, fuck it, smoke it if you got them. Like if we're gonna drive off the mountain or whatever, like I don't want to die with like 2 fully rolled joints in my pocket. Like, let's burn them. And so, we ended up
priorities,
right? And like, so we end up like pulling over at the next exit and driving really slow on the 5. It's like Fraser Point, I believe is what it was called. And there's like a row of like 30 cars, like all parked on the side of the exit there. And, the other guy that was with us was like, we're all going over it in our heads. And we're like, Noah, if you feel like you're confident that you can drive this, then let's do it. But if we stay here, we're going to get snowed in. Look, it was really getting bad. All the other cars that were just idling over there, had already begun to be snowed in. So he's like, I think it's best if we just push on. And obviously we don't want to be like stuck in this fucking van for longer than we need to. So, we decided to roll the dice and, just keep going. And it worked out fine, but, it was very hairy. And, at the time I was like, shit, like, all to have like a cheaper, it was like $40, and like we can carpool together. So sometimes the rideshare experiences are like not just like a short little road trip.
It seems like a moment like that would open up your mind. Yeah. Overall, like spiritually speaking, I don't want to make that, but you would be like, well, like I almost got stuck, or we almost went off the cliff, or
we could have died.
I can't not take chances. Mm-hmm. In other aspects of my life, like career-wise or dating or whatever.
Definitely.
Do you feel that way?
So I just got a motorcycle a couple months ago, and I found since I've gotten that, I definitely feel like, like that logic, that like, oh, this, I should be challenging myself. Fear is good, like I should be like facing, more fears and trying to like live, with more, facing more challenges every day and not being so like, so complacent. I feel like that's the pitfall that a lot of people fall into. And I realized that in the job I was doing, I kind of lulled myself in a false sense of accomplishment that I didn't really have like earned. And I wanted to like get back into like feeling afraid in my life and like challenging myself, which is like why I really started pushing my company too.
What's the biggest challenge or fear that you've overcome?
I guess that I would fail. You know, like after working so hard at like developing myself as like a filmmaker and like wanting to make everything that I do like be something I'm super proud of. Like everything I put my name on, I want to like be the culmination of everything I've learned and the sum of my efforts. And and I don't necessarily, you know, and that's just not a realistic thing that's going to happen, you know, like not everything that you're able to do is going to be this masterful opus, you know. And so like, and that would sometimes I would like make excuses to hold myself back to where, because I was like, oh shit, like it's not going to be, you know, I don't have the budget to do how I want to do it or whatever. So I'm just not going to. And now I'm like, whatever, I'm just going to try, you know, I just want to, I'm not going to hold myself back, you know?
It sounds like you're comfortable with imperfection.
Yeah. I just want to, you know, like, faults are just weaknesses in your armor you just haven't patched up yet. So by all means, like, let me fail as many times as I can so that I can, like, figure out where my weaknesses are and improve upon them. Because
you're producing your own stuff, you're putting your own things out
and
there.
And other people's content as well.
Is that where it allows you to be a little more vulnerable?
Yeah. Definitely. You know, I try to feel like I want to be vulnerable in all parts of my life. You know, like, you know, paradoxically, ironically, like I feel like the philosophy I identify most with is Stoicism. But at the same time, like I want to, you know, like I want to embrace all sorts, every feeling, you know, like if a song makes me want to dance, I'd fucking dance, man. I don't care if like I'm on the bus or in the elevator or whatever. Like, vulnerable isn't a bad thing, you know. Like I always love the saying, like, don't mistake my kindness with weakness,
right?
You know, like. Kindness, you know, and being open or whatever isn't vulnerable, or like can be vulnerable, but it's not weakness. You know?
Because we were watching some of your videos. We were having tacos.
Yeah.
Hello Pinches tacos. They're delicious.
Very good tacos. Thank you.
And we were watching some of your videos. You're so expressive and you're so open. But then when we started here, you were like, "Oh, I'm deflecting."
Oh yeah.
Is there two sides to Mr. Gilmore?
Yeah. Like I'm definitely very outgoing and like, you know, like I want to engage with everybody. I really love people. I love people. Like I celebrate the differences of people. Like I've got a really eclectic, strange group of friends, and like it's not that I'm like collecting like the weirdest people in the world to like be my friends or whatever, but like I just yeah, like I like different people. Like I appreciate different colors, you know, like in the spectrum. Like yeah. So, but at the same time, I do want to isolate sometimes, and I do feel. I feel like I just want my me time, and like however like outgoing and stuff I am, I also get my own anxieties sometimes. And you know, like I used to deal with a lot of social anxiety, which
really,
yeah, like couldn't answer my phone. Like the going to the door was like the worst thing in the world. And I don't, you know, like it's not like crippling social anxiety anymore for me, but there's definitely like a side of me that just wants to like. Just like be humble and, you know, and just like lay low and stay in and Netflix and chill by myself.
It's interesting because I've found that most very creative people have anxiety, social anxiety. I definitely can get to that mode. Yeah, I will. We have Christian, my boyfriend, here in the audience. Hello, Christian.
Hey, Christian.
He's just waving.
Hi. He's a very sweet guy.
Yeah.
Also, he makes an amazing lemon cake with chocolate. What is this?
Yellow cake.
Yellow cake?
With chocolate frosting.
Yellow cake with chocolate frosting.
We'll post a picture online. But yeah, I found that most creative people can like get to that point. Like I will, right before I have to leave, I will find things around the house that need to be moved or done to like either be late and then not call it like, oh shit, I'm going to be late. Like I can't make my leave now.
Yeah.
Especially like going to the airport, I will break into sweat and get headaches just waiting for Uber to get us to the airport. And I will have a headache until after we've crossed TSA. And then sometimes I get into so much of a panic that I will have a headache until we get on the plane. And then I can just relax and lay back.
Yeah.
But I get like, oh my God, there's going to be people and I have to get over and I have to socialize. And but I'm fortunate enough that he can socialize more than I can sometimes.
Yeah.
So I will just ignore people and he'll be the one that's chatty. And I'll just give him the look from far away, like, shut the fuck up and get over here. But how do you walk yourself through the anxiety, or how do you talk yourself through it?
Totally. So going back to like your example of like the airport or the plane or whatever, like when I'm in work mode, Mikey, like it's almost like, because like I was born Michael Gilmore, right? Like Mikey is like a persona almost, you know, that like it's like Mikey is, because as a gaffer on set, which is like was my version of Ubering, right? I found a way to like crew when I really want to produce and direct, but I became a gaffer because I was still on set all the time, and that was my bread and butter. So gaffer, kind of, you're coordinating on set to like with the key grip and your electricians, your best boy electric, your best boy grip, and your grips and electrics. So like I never wanted to be like just boss, and like as I started to get a little older, like some of the crew guys are like in their early 20s and they're like, yes sir, and I'm like, fuck man, I'm not sir, like sir's my dad, I'm Mikey. You know, like and like yeah, so like the Mikey, honestly I guess the Mikey thing's sort of like a persona that helps me interact with people easier. But now like take me out of like the work settings or like the work scenario, and I'm with like, you know, my girlfriend or something, you know, or like, you know, and where I'm at like some random party and I don't know any of these people, and like I'm not gonna necessarily be like the same, you know, I'll be kind of anxious because I don't know how to talk to these people or like what I want to talk to them about or whatever. So how I would deal with it is that I feel like anxiety for myself, like it just builds. Like if you try to fight it, you're like just ignore it, think about something else, and it's like shaking up the soda, you know, even more. My favorite thing to do is like when I show up, I just announce it. I'd be like, hey, like I'm feeling really anxious right now, you know, it's kind of funny, I got all these butterflies in my stomach, so sorry, you know, just total disclaimer right now, sorry if I'm like acting a little strange, like I'm in my head a little bit too much right now. And then typically everybody understands, they get it, like they can relate, or they're also feeling anxious, and then it's like, oh thank God or whatever, and then yeah.
Who do you prefer, Michael or Mikey?
I like Mikey, you know, it's like my siblings and stuff are like, hey Mikey, you know, and like
But I mean personality wise.
I guess I'm definitely like when I go home and I'm by myself, I'm writing and I'm like listening to my records or whatever, burning some sage. It's like that's a Michael. You know, that's the downside, is that Mikey was like sort of like at first was like this Burning Man kind of persona. So like, you know, there's other sort of connotations, like expectations. I feel like, you know, like like the party guy or whatever, like the Mexico stories and stuff like that. Like they're great and all, but like, you know, that was like, it feels like that was me like in my previous role. You know, like I've recast it myself in my life, and So I don't necessarily want to like have to feel like I live up to those expectations, because I don't, like
Right.
I appreciate that stuff, but that was a time in the past, and I'm moved on. I want different things with my life, and
So you rather be Michael now?
well, yeah, I'll probably like. Maybe I'll rebrand again at some point and just switch back over. But hey, also, I'm the only Mikey Gilmore on IMDb. There's a bunch of Michael Gilmores, but I'm the only Mikey.
That's something to hold on to. Because I know there's several Daniel Garzas on there.
Really?
Yeah. So I thought for a moment, should I change it?
Yeah, you're like Danny Garza?
Yeah, Dan Garza.
And there are 7 Christian Ramirez.
7 Christian Ramirez.
As you can see, we're in a house full of business people, industry people. Yeah. We're almost running out of time, but part of the tradition of my show is to share words of wisdom with the audience. What words of wisdom would you like to share?
I would just say, be like, do what your mom says, and like be like a good person, and like operate, like treat people how you would want to be treated, and ultimately like live your own dreams, because no one else is gonna like live your dream for you. Like don't get stuck in traffic thinking about I wish. Like spend every day trying to figure out how to like take little steps, even just the tiniest steps, to like making whatever you want to have happen. And like tell everybody about it. Tell the whole damn world that you want to build like, or you want to raise like the world's largest sunflower plant, or I don't know, like, and like air that out to the world, and then like the universe, I think, like will reciprocate. And if you start to work towards your dream starts to work towards you.
Very cool. What's your next dream?
So I'm starting to launch my production company, Film Boho in earnest, and sort of my mission statement is like I want to retain the artistic integrity of the script or of the production throughout the process of pre and during production and post, with as little artistic compromises and concessions throughout the process. Essentially, like I want to fight for my friends to keep their vision without having to cut so many corners that their square becomes a circle. I really as a producer, I really fight very hard because it's my full-time like obsession for these projects and things like that. And I really believe in my friends and with my coworkers who some really great friends that happen to also be my peers / collaborators, and I really want to be able to. I feel like I'm in a position where I can help them with, and I want to be able to protect them as well. And with this company, Film Boho, I'm really excited. I feel like I'm already taking some steps that way. I've got some things that I've released that are now like touring, that are hitting festivals, and we've collected some awards, and I just want to keep that momentum going and building and growing, and I'm very excited for the future. I'm very excited.
Well, we're down to the end of the show. I think you did great.
Thank you, man.
For as nervous as you thought you were, you definitely did not deflect from anything. So be good for that. I'm excited that you're starting your own production, and you got your own stuff going.
Yeah,
you have an amazing eye. Not to mention, to the people watching out there, you take amazing photos. I've seen some of the random photos that you've taken on different sets.
I was modeling yesterday, actually.
Were you really?
Yeah.
Finally, yes. I've been telling you for such a long time, you need to start modeling. For those of you watching, of course, you'll see the photo and you'll see some of the videos on the page. He's a handsome dude, and he cleans up nice. Not that this rugged biker look doesn't work for you. Yeah. But when there are some amazing photos of you out there that,
thank you, sir.
With all due respect, I've looked at them and go, dang.
You're a handsome fella yourself.
Let's make a calendar and put that on my restroom wall.
I mean, anything to make a buck, I guess.
$20 is $20.
That's great.
So
Very
what
flattering.
were you modeling, if you can tell? Or?
Yeah, it's like some motorcycle stuff actually.
Nice.
But yeah, I cleaned up a little bit for that one. Had a tie and a button up and things like that. So it's a little along those lines.
Nice. Well, I hope we can see some of that.
Yeah, soon. I'm sure.
I'm going to go stalk his Facebook page and your Instagram too.
Yeah.
And he's got some amazing pictures on there. And I'll get a little video for you guys,
Yeah.
for you ladies and gents.
Is it okay if I plug my Instagram, I guess?
Please do. Tell us how to reach you. Tell us how to find you.
Sure. Yeah, so you can email me if you have any like pitches you'd like to send me or whatever at filmboho@gmail.com. And then my Instagram is @Gilmore Mikey. And you can see a lot of like the stuff, the content that I help create, as well as like the stuff that I'm creating in pre-production for, and lots of daily shenanigans if you follow me.
Is there anything that's already been produced that we can find?
Yeah, let's see. I have a movie called a short. Christian's baking something right now. I have a short I produced called Blind Date that is out right now. Let's see.
And we can find that online?
Ooh, no, you know what? It might not be online. Wait, yeah, because it's still in festival. It's still in the festival track, but I'm sure it's going to be online very soon.
Okay.
Wow. Let's see.
Well, if you find anything,
yeah, I'm spacing
you have links.
right now. I'm so
I know
embarrassed.
there's producers for you. Why don't you call your people and see if they?
Yeah, this is why we have assistants.
Yes, have your assistant email me.
My people will call your people.
Can have them. Yes, not me personally because I won't answer the phone. But have
Classic story, Daniel.
Have my assistant get an email from your assistant with the links to anything we can find online, and we'll share it on our
Okay,
page.
I would love that, man.
Have
That's
people
cool.
look at it, and I'm sure. I'd love to look at it too. So,
You have your people like make notes. Yeah,
I'll tell my people how to congratulate you.
Yeah, Sarah said that scene was really funny with the puppet.
My people say great job on that thing you did.
The one with the face and the people and the hair.
You film beautifully, sir.
Well, thanks for having me, Daniel.
My pleasure, man. And I have, we talked a little bit about some stuff that I have in mind, so hopefully we can collaborate at some point.
Yeah. I really like that short script. You gotta find the draft that you have, or just rewrite it and send it to me.
We'll get that together. For now, let me just everybody listening, I hope you've enjoyed today. Again, Michael Gilmore, I've been wanting to have you on the show for a long time because I just found you uber interesting when I met you. You're one of those people that I use the word struggling in a positive way. I've seen you hustle. I've seen you work at, you don't give up.
Yeah.
And that's an amazing trait in the city.
Yeah, I was going to say, be careful with the struggling artist, because I feel like that gets romanticized way too much. Like, people you don't want to be the struggling artist, be the successful one, ASAP.
And if I can piggyback on that, don't measure your success on somebody else's career.
Oh, definitely.
Because they probably struggle too.
Yeah.
There are no overnight successes.
Yeah, Alexander the Great ran the world by 23. Like, if you're going to measure yourself up to someone else, you're always going to find someone to fail to, you know?
So, and again, my admiration, and I consider you a friend. So
yeah, man, me too.
So I'm glad you came out. All right, guys, for now, again, thank you, my producer, Mr. Kevin Moyers, for all his help. Please find us on abnormalentertainment.com. Check me out on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. My handle is @LilMexican, LILMESICAN. If you want to be on the show, you can find me on any of those. Send me a message or email me at danielggarza@hotmail.com. DANIELGGARZA@hotmail.com. Put podcast on the subject, that way I know what you're looking for. And come on the show. Everybody has a story. What's yours? It's time to share it. For now, thank you, Mr. Gilmore, for being on the show. Thank you, all you folks, for listening. And this is Daniel Garza saying, hey, put it together.
Subscribe to Put It Together on iTunes, Stitcher, and at abnormalentertainment.com/putittogether. Find Put It Together on Facebook and tweet Daniel at Lil Messican, LILMESICAN. And for more podcasts, comics, books, movies, and more, head to abnormalentertainment.com.
You've been listening to the Abnormal Entertainment Network.